Hi, my name is Alana Bergdahl, and for my term paper, I decided to use option seven, which is basically whether or not boys and girls, men and women, should be able to play in sports together, looking into the quality of that. So, to start it off, the title of my paper is Equality Between Men and Women in Sports. I just feel like it described it all together. It didn't need to be anything super fancy because then it becomes confusing. So I thought this was a good option to choose because it is a very controversial topic on whether men and women should be allowed to play together and what what we would need to do in order to allow that to happen, like what changes though that we need to make in sport if there are any, um, and basically why we already don't have that, and also looking into transgenders being able to play associated with the gender that they feel like they are. So for my essay, my thesis is the equality of gender in sport is necessary to cultivate a fair and inclusive environment for all genders to thrive in. I feel that in order to really have equality in gender, um, we definitely need it in sports. Most sports are played separately, males and females. I know that when I was in high school or even middle school, when you have sports teams for your school, you try out either for the boy or the girls version. There's no like in between. And honestly, I don't even think that they would let you try out for the opposite one unless, maybe you fought for it or some sort. But when I was back in school, they that wasn't really necessarily a thing. I know in our society now, people are trying to be a little bit more open minded, and that's why this is becoming a big topic of discussion. So I basically just stated that using Andrew Weston's Get Started, that the current state of sports is truly unfair. And we needed to see what we need to do to change that. Basically, it all revolved around toxic masculinity in a way because um, men are supposed to be in their sports like dominant and aggressive and violent, and that's why their sports like tackle football that you play, which gives such serious injuries, brain injuries and other injuries as well, are like one of the biggest sports that people actually watch, and there's no girl alternative to that, which is wild because I feel like they think that like the football, like the NFL, should be mainly for men. And I feel like if women want to pursue that, they should be given the option. I know in high school, the the football team, there would be obviously the tackle football, and then there would be like a flag football for the girls. Another sport that I think is completely different for both genders would be like lacrosse. Boys had a more aggressive version than the females. The females would essentially play a non contact sport, where you could really get in trouble for hitting someone with your stick, as well as having way different equipment. The sticks are different, the balls are different. You don't even wear a helmet, you wear goggles as a female, which I think they just started bringing in helmets. But still, nonetheless, there is a major difference in the sports when it comes to that as well. And I do blame it on society. Our society wants to keep them separate. They want to allow this toxic masculinity to prevail. And I was an athlete. I was a competitive cheerleader for, I don't know, a very long time. But I had males in my sport. The only thing I do remember, which honestly does suck, is that a lot of people thought that because they were boys in cheerleading, they were gay, which is not always the case. They think that they would have to be feminine or gay or whatever because that's just how they perceived cheerleaders. Cheerleaders had to be super feminine. They had to be super girly and wearing the makeup and the bows and the bling and all of that. And when boys would wear something of that sort, they just automatically assume that they're gay, which is very wrong for our society to do. And that would be essentially the first step, is that we need to separate that and understand that masculinity doesn't have to be in the set path that they create it to be. And we need to challenge the biases in gender, in the gender inequality that we have in society, in order to honestly even allow the genders to play in sports together. I know that I did write in the essay that there are some biological factors that contribute to the separation, which would be that typically men are bigger than women, height-wise, weight-wise. And I believe it's also because we have different hormones. Like, men are predominantly testosterone and females are estrogen. But I'm sure that we can figure out a way to make it equal for us to play together. And I think it will start with the transgenders being able to really be their true selves and play with the gender they associate with. We will really be able to tell if it will be fair play or if there's something that needs to be different. But that would be the first step, honestly, too, would be doing so. But overall, I think that we need to create fairness, and to do so, we need to allow both the genders. And hopefully, as time continues, we can figure out a way to allow this. Even if people want to play separately, like, that's fine, but we should allow a way for them to play together if that is what they want to do, or even allow women to try out for the sports. Maybe it would help our society. But yeah, thank you all if you did watch. If you have any questions, let me know.